Hello and welcome to this week's newscast from PEI. I'm Kelvin Ross. In this week's headlines, E.ON admits it cannot fund its major renewables projects on its own. 3 workers are kidnapped from a coal plant in Turkey. Polish citizens back the government's push for nuclear power. And sub-Saharan Africa is set to commission around 1.8 gigawatts of renewable capacity this year. Germany's largest utility, E.ON, says it can no longer afford to drive forward large-scale renewable projects on its own and is now looking for investment partners to maintain momentum. Mike Winkle, E.ON's board member responsible for renewables, said that the company had a major pipeline of developed onshore wind projects, but it could no longer meet the capital needs for these projects on its own. He said the company was undergoing its own Energiewende as its renewables portfolio is growing while its thermal power base continues to decline. However, E.ON is still working to reduce a $39 billion debt caused by the decimation of its coal and gas-fired power fleets, which fell victim to Germany's overhaul of its energy mix. Last year, renewables accounted for just over 15% of E.ON's earnings, which fell by 14% overall. That put it far ahead of its domestic rival RWE, where renewables accounted for 4.5% of core profit. 3 Chinese engineers are said to have been kidnapped during an attack on a power plant in Turkey by the militant group PKK. The group reportedly fired rocket-propelled grenades at the coal plant, which has been built in Sirnak province near the Iraq border by China Machinery Engineering Corporation. The Chinese embassy in Turkey said that the Turkish army has launched a rescue mission to find the 3 missing engineers. The PKK, or Kurdistan Workers' Party, is outlawed in Turkey and considered a terrorist group by the European Union and the United States. The coal plant has been built in 3 stages. The first 135 megawatt unit has been online since 2009, and 2 more 135 megawatt units are currently under construction. A government survey has found that more than half of Poland's citizens support the country's new nuclear programme. Poland wants to move away from its reliance on coal and plans to have its first nuclear plant built by 2024. Almost 60% of those surveyed by the Polish Institute of International Affairs favoured the use of nuclear power. The reason for increased support of nuclear appears to be growing anxiety about energy security, spurred by the conflict in Ukraine. In terms of which technologies Poland should develop to advance a low-carbon agenda, 58% of people named renewables, 48% said nuclear, 21% shale gas, 16% energy efficiency measures, and just 8% opted for coal. Coal currently makes up over 90% of Poland's energy mix, but a government forecast sees it being phased out, with its use dropping by almost 40% by 2050, and energy from nuclear and renewables growing to around 125 terawatt-hours per year. Sub-Saharan Africa is to commission around 1.8 gigawatts of renewable capacity this year, according to new analysis from Bloomberg New Energy Finance. The report estimates that investment this year in South Africa, Kenya and Ethiopia will be almost $6 billion and predicts that this will rise to $7.7 billion in 2016. Bloomberg said the greatest growth sector would be geothermal, followed by wind and solar. It explained that the rise of renewables in Africa reflects a combination of growing local need for power and awareness that the cost per megawatt hour of clean options such as wind and solar has fallen sharply in recent years. Bloomberg expects South Africa to install around 3.9 gigawatts of largely wind and solar power between now and 2016, while Kenya will install 1.4 gigawatts and Ethiopia 570 megawatts. That's all for this week. We'll see you again soon.